I'm Dana. Welcome to my bookshelf. As you can see, I love to read and I like to stay on top of the latest sleep research around childhood sleep and how to solve those problems. There's another reason why I keep up to date on all the books that are out there for parents is because I want to know where you're coming from. So when you reach out to me and say, I read the No Cry Sleep Solution or I read the Dr. Ferber book, I want to know where you're coming from so that I can both tell you what's great about those books and also why the Sleep Sense program might be a little bit different and perhaps a better fit for you. So I thought today I would share my reviews on a few of the top sleep books that are out there today. Now, these are just my opinions. You might have a different opinion about the book, but that's okay. We don't always need to agree. But I want to give you my very honest pros and cons around some of the popular sleep books. So let's have a look at the first one. This one's been around for a really long time. It's called Baby Wise, and it has a lot of fans, and I actually think it's got some really good information in it. It's a great first step. So a lot of people pick this up when they've got a newborn in the house, and it gives you a lot of really good insight into a newborn's sleep needs. So lots of great information, generically a very good plan, really encourages parents to allow their babies to find ways to fall asleep that are independent and not start to rely on a whole bunch of prop associations. So that's all good stuff. The only criticism I've heard about this book over the years, though, is that it's very rigid. So the schedule is like right down to, 8:52 you feed, at 9:29 you put baby to bed. So for a lot of new moms, it can be very overwhelming. And that's what I've heard, a lot of moms saying, I drove myself crazy trying to follow this plan and it really stressed me out and made me a bit anxious about what was going on. So if you're having any kind of struggles at all with this anxiety or just feeling overwhelmed, then this is probably not the book for you. But I want to highlight that in the Sleep Sense program, I also have a newborn section. And I feel like it's a little bit of a more gentle step into the whole process of teaching your baby to sleep well. The next one would be Healthy Sleep Habits, Happy Child. Look how thick that is. That's a heavy book, isn't it? Again, great stuff in here. He's done a lot of research. It's very scientifically sound, gives you lots of great advice about encouraging children to find their own independent ways into sleep. So lots of really good positive stuff in here. Obviously, the cons are that it's very thick. So if you're a tired parent, you're probably going to fall asleep halfway through this book before you get to the answers. And I also find it's a little bit of a contradiction. On one hand, he's saying babies need to sleep and they need to sleep well and they need to sleep solidly for naps and through the night. But then on the other hand, he's often saying that, you might be up several times a night still feeding your 9 or 10-month-old baby. So it can be a little bit confusing to get to the actual plan that he's got laid out for you, which is pretty heavy and deep inside here. So if you're rested, give it a shot. If not, try something else. Now, another one that's been quite talked about as of late is the Gentle Sleep book. Now, I was excited at first because the research she has about sleep in general is very sound. So I'm in agreement with her for the first 30 pages or so of the book. And it's great if you want to educate yourself about sleep in adults, what the sleep cycles are, why we sleep, baby sleep. All that is some really good information. And then it really starts to fall apart at after that point. And one of my big frustration points about it, and she has a lot of case studies in here, and when you read the case studies, you'll hear that the parents are really desperate. I mean, there's like 2-year-olds in here who are waking up 6, 8, 10 times a night and not sleeping well, and everybody's struggling. And her common advice is that this is totally normal. So if I'm desperate and I haven't slept a solid night in 2 years and I'm at my wit's end, I guess it's somewhat comforting to hear that this is normal, but how do I get out of it, right? Am I just supposed to accept it? And that's what I feel like a lot of the book is saying, just accept it. You're never going to sleep again. That's the way it goes. And she'll say, right until your child's 5 and even older, that waking up multiple times a night is somehow normal. I know that that's not true. I know that babies are capable of sleeping through the night, solid 10, 12 hours by about the 6th month of age. Some take a little longer, some are even a little sooner. But I know that it's possible, and I also know that it's good for their bodies and their brains. Now, I'm not saying that everyone sleeps solidly through the night. That is not what I'm saying. Every person on the planet has little brief wake-ups through the night. That's common. But the fact that a child needs any kind of outside assistance, except for maybe an illness or a nightmare on occasion, sure, absolutely. I'll get up and tend to my child whenever they need me for those types of reasons. But if it's a prop dependency, then that is a habit. And we can break habits, and we can teach ourselves a new way of doing things. And that's really what the Sleep Sense program is all about, is teaching your child the skills she needs to sleep well and not need a whole lot of outside help from you or a prop. So I don't have much more to say about this one. And finally, we've got the oldie but the goodie, Solve Your Child's Sleep Problems. This is by Dr. Richard Ferber. This is what is referred to as the Ferber Method, which you've probably heard about already. This has been around for a long time. Even your parents probably have heard about it. And again, lots of great information in here. A bit heavy, so kind of thick. It gets a little bit scientific at times, so I've had a lot of parents say that, you know, I just couldn't understand it and it was a little bit too heavy into the science, and I kind of lost my speed through the book and eventually put it down. But his actual plan for getting your children to sleep well is very sound, right? It is all about teaching your child good sleep skills that are independent, not relying on outside props. So I am in 100% agreement with his basic philosophy. He offers a leave and check style, which the Sleep Sense program also offers. He suggests that you increase the time, you know, so maybe your first checks are 5 minutes and then the next night 10 and 15. I don't find that that makes any difference. I haven't seen that that's really the magic answer. You can check every 5 minutes, you know, for 10 nights if you want. You can check every 15. It really depends on how your baby responds. So if she's getting more and more upset with your frequent checks, then maybe you want to make them a little less frequent, and she would do better. So it really depends on your baby, which this book doesn't mention. Also, the big difference between this one and the Sleep Sense program is that I offer a stay in the room method. So a lot of parents get a bit uncomfortable about the idea of leaving my baby in there if she's upset and I feel like I'm not supporting her or tending to her in the way that feels good for me. Then you don't have to do that. You can stay in the room the whole time. But the heart of the issue is, and it will always be, that your child needs to learn some independent sleep skills. So sleep is the most selfish thing that we do, right? It really is. Like, there's nothing you can do for me if I can't sleep. I have to master that. I have to be the master of my own sleep. And I really want children to be the master of their own sleep as well, which is all about teaching them the skills that they need to fall asleep independently. And then they're going to be great sleepers. And there's nothing else to it. There's no magic solution. There's just really no other way around this. It is the heart of the issue. And once you see your child develop those skills and become a great sleeper, you're going to be really proud of yourself and really proud of your child that they learned such an awesome and important skill. So thanks for joining me and my bookshelf today. Thanks for watching. Sleep well.